Hi, it's Somatex here, back with another video. So today I thought I must do a video about something a little bit different, but we all need it. Maybe if you're using Wi-Fi, you're thinking right now you're not using it that much, but you still use it to contact your families, all your relatives or people who are not actually that much connected to the internet. Those are the service providers. So in SA we have the big four. So I've used 3 of them, and there are a little bit more features that we really need as consumers, and I think it is important that I talk about them right now. The first thing that I've noticed when I was using my Vodacom during the holidays, so I was buying the data bundles, the just for you data bundles almost every day. But then one thing I found to be off with those data bundles was the fact that I couldn't use Instagram probably with them. So the Instagram wasn't working properly, so the photos weren't loading. I don't know what's the issue with those data bundles. And also your movies online streaming, that thing didn't work on those data bundles, so they are kind of restricted to which sites they go into. But I was amused by why Instagram, why shouldn't they just restrict it to maybe some I don't know. We don't actually need to restrict anything on the net as service providers. Maybe if we were on free Wi-Fi, maybe some services or sites may be restricted, but not on paid data bundles. That shouldn't be an issue there. But I think they don't even have those, because I just read the terms and conditions. They don't even have those things that written there on the fine print that we restrict data bundles on this and that and that. Also with MTN had some problems with airtime. So airtime just disappears and then comes back, disappears and then comes back. And there is another issue when using 2 or 3 apps together that use data bundles. Actually, one of them can't, or just uses your airtime instead of data bundles. And when I called them, they said there are pools or something like that where the data is actually going into. It can't have 2 or 3 or more apps running on the same thing. It didn't actually make sense for me. It's when someone buys data bundles, they should use them for the internet and not the airtime. Also with Celsi, all of them, they should actually have a feature where they actually restrict your internet connectivity when you've run out of data, so that you may actually get the chance to buy data bundles with your existing airtime. Not that when the data bundles run out, they actually take on your airtime and then deplete it, because airtime is much more costly when using it for the internet instead of data bundles. Another thing that I think was off with Vodacom especially, or both of them with MTN, the thing with data speeds. So MTN, they had this promotion that if you recharge with 20 rands for the first time, then they give you 1 gig of data. I was getting roughly about 4 megabytes of data, no problem with that. But then there was an issue with the 40 rand uncapped data for the day. That data was actually not performing as they said. So the first 150, the threshold, that was good, but then after that they said it's 128 kilobyte per second. That in South Africa is not a bad thing. It's efficient, but then it wasn't there. It was like 15 kilobyte per second. I couldn't do a thing with that speed, because I was on a 150 megabyte per second router. So the speed should have been up to maybe 100 kilobyte per second, so that I may actually be able to use some of the streaming services. Also with Vodacom, the data is actually a lag for a network that says it's the first one to have 4G, but the internet there is very, very slow. I put it on the router, so maybe I said, oh, maybe my phone is actually doesn't support LTE, it supports 3G, but I should have had 3G on this one, but it was using Edge, so that was a little bit more off and when I took it to the router, actually it didn't actually do a thing. It doesn't even reaching a megabyte per second for a network that says it has LTE. I was very disappointed by that. Also, your Cell C, I heard that they increased their tariffs. They don't have much issues, except that all of them must introduce the feature where you don't use your airtime for data bundles. You actually choose not to use your airtime for data for accessing the internet, so that we can actually save on data and actually use the airtime for calls. I think you get what I mean. I hope the networks eventually get this message and fix those things. Cheers.